odds are you're probably doing too much. At least I was. In photography, it feels like there's never enough things that you could do. You can always get lost in a different tangent. But if you're trying to make money in photography, if you're trying to impress other people and trying to make a career as a photographer, there's some things that are a little bit more important than others. So let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Sergio and I'm a commercial photographer here in Victoria, BC. And one of the things that I've learned about being a commercial photographer is that it doesn't really matter if I'm happy with the shots. It's much more important to have my clients happy with the shots. As a photographer, I'm always trying to reinvent the wheel. I think that's pretty common for us to just think like, I got into this to be creative, to be different, to try something else. Why would I just do the same thing over and over again? But being a cliche photographer, being someone who is consistently giving what other people want, is actually going to give you and land you this full-time career that you might be wishing for or hoping for. I mean, if you watch this channel, you probably try to make money in photography. So I think if you put a few of these things into place, it'll help your career in the long run, even in the short term. Like, it'll help your career as soon as you implement these next few things. So very first, you're too original. Or at least you try to be, okay? You're trying a little bit too hard. And that just means it should be easier. Don't just be like, oh, screw you. And no, that's fine. You can try as hard as you want, but just lean back a little bit, okay? Like, I think what's important is that you want to make sure that other people are stoked. You don't need to impress other photographers. I spent the first half of my career just trying to impress other photographers. And look how perfectly technical the lighting is here, and look how this and that and the... I forget the story entirely. I forget the whole point of the actual shot because I'm too focused on getting a perfect midday Rembrandt on my subject. What's important is to make sure that they're happy with the look, feel, aesthetic that you're giving them. That means they have to be happy. They have to be able to read the images on a layman's level. If you're trying to highbrow your way through photography, you're going to impress other photographers like me, but you're not going to impress other clients. You're going to only attract the people who can see those tiny little nuances. And yeah, sure, like at a certain level, like there's obviously you have to get better and you have to grow your photography, and you can't just be a crappy photographer and expect to be a great business, to have a bunch of money. But I do think you're probably hyper-focusing on those tiny little technical details more than you probably need to be. The reason successful photographers are successful is because they focus on the commercial viability of their images. Look back at your images, look back at your portfolio, look back at your 10 favorite shots, okay? And tell me who would benefit from having those pictures in their arsenal. Who would be able to advertise with the shots that you have? And if you are having a hard time coming up with that answer, then you probably aren't a very successful photographer yet. And I do say yet because there's still a way to market what it is that you have to different industries. And if there isn't, you just need to start shooting some more stuff, and that's fine. Don't be too attached to your stuff. Don't be too like, oh, this is like the exact perfect thing and it needs to be shot like this. It's like, you want to be impressing other people. If you're not booking a lot of work right now, it's probably because your portfolio looks like what you like. It looks only like your taste, which is okay. But if other people are booking with you, then they have to be happy. They have to be stoked on your stuff. And if you want a bit more in depth on that, you can click this video right here on landing a better or getting a better portfolio. But it all boils down to the clichéness of your photography, the ability for other people to see themselves in your work. Not everything is going to be an F1 car or a supermodel or a fine dining type of meal. But what you have to do as a photographer is make that mundane look extraordinary. Love that waiting quote of the difference between ordinary and extraordinary. That little extra. But it's true. You really do only want to focus on making sure that your clients are happy, not you. You're trying to impress other people. They have products that they need to sell. You need to find a way to sell those products. It's a t-shirt, that's their face, that's their food, whatever it may be. You need to be able to impress them and make them feel comfortable in spending money with you. Look, guess what, man? There's nobody thinking about you, okay? No one is shadow banning you. If people aren't liking your Instagram posts or if people aren't booking with you, it's not because they have some kind of vendetta against you. It's probably just because you're not that good and you're not that impressive. And you might think you are, and maybe your friends might think you are, and your photography friends might think you are, but that's not who we're impressing anymore. You're trying to make it for layman's. You're trying to be You're not trying to be some like edgelord and being like, oh, look at all these cool fancy effects I can do with my camera. Look how much better I am than you are because I can do this and that. What you're trying to do is just be like, hey, look, I can expose an image the way you wanted me to expose it. I can do the things that you asked and I made it happen. That is what actually unlocks your career as a photographer. And if it sounds boring, fine. Do the edgy stuff on the side for your fun, for your own self, for your own sake. Do it to clear your mind from doing things you don't like for other people. It's going to land you the very niche sometimes job here and there. I'm not going to say like it's useless to create stuff that's completely like out of left field, but the more you can create things that are you know, commercially viable, that are able to impress the laymen who have no idea about anything in photography, that's how you progress your photography. If your dad can be like, oh, that's a cool shot. Oh, that's fun. Oh, that's cool. You know, like unless your dad is like David Cronenberg or something, like you're probably fine. If you can do that, you will also impress other photographers, at least eventually. Silly one, but like just taking like a clean, simple shot of silverware or something white on top of a white background. On your head, at least when I was first starting out in product photography or in commercial work, I'm like, okay, whatever, just throw a flash, put a background, calls it a day. The simpler the shot, the more it's simpler the shot, the harder it tends to be. I often tie this back to tattooing or other different realms, but if you think of tattooing, if you think of American traditional tattooing, you think of a rose. It is one of the most commonly drawn design things in tattooing. And some people would be like, oh, you look like you just grabbed a thing off the wall. And that is the point. The point is that, let's say for me personally, I want my tattoos to look like tattoos. I want people to be able to see a tattoo from across the street and be like, oh, that's a tattoo. And if that means getting the same thing as someone else, then that's what it means. Because in photography, you're going to be asked to shoot things that already exist in your own way. And if you look at tattooing, if you look at roses, if you look at proper tattooers and people who draw, all of those tiny little roses are able to showcase a slightly different style, a slightly different approach at the same drawing. It's not about reinventing a rose. It's not about creating a brand new flower that doesn't exist. It's about doing the rose in the best way possible that is unique to you. And that is why people are going to come to you for a rose and not some other person, photographer, creative, whatever it may be. That is really what's going to unlock a career for you in photography. Be cliche. Look for the roses that you can take photos of and do it uniquely and originally to you. Is that how you speak? Is that how English works? Anyway, I think you understand what I'm trying to say. So apply yourself to that and that will land you those jobs that you're looking for. Thanks for watching. Little half a head nod there. Subscribe if you're new here, if you don't understand what the head nod is. If you subscribe, you'll see it eventually in the other videos. Comment if you learned something new. Leave a like on your way out, and I'll see you guys in a couple days. Later.